also share my screen. Yep. Then the next thing is screen flow. Okay, this will hit record at 11:10. Cool, I'll be back at 11:10 and then we'll get started. Okay. Cool. Let's get started. Awesome. So can someone just speak something? I want to try.
Hi,
If
hi,
this is connected. Yeah.
Hello,
hi,
Hussein.
Hussein. Hi, Hussein.
Awesome. Awesome. Hi. Hi. Hello.
The airport's
Hmm.
battery is low.
Uh, so they are charging here. It's just these things are out. So hopefully by the end of the session they will be fully charged. And you also in agentic AI. So cool. Let's get started. And yeah, sorry for the miscommunication regarding the class. But yeah, I will just close this, and we will jump back to where we were yesterday. So we were building this app called Apna Slot, which was a slot booking application, right? And then it was totally agentic. We started with just the prompt, right? And if I'm able to go to resume and see, the oldest prompt is 22 hours ago. Yeah. Okay. We'll see it later. But we dumped all of the information about the idea that we have in our mind and used the grill me skill, then Frappe app dev and Frappe UI skill, right? And then it went ahead and did the specking. And then we just reviewed the specs. So the output of that exercise, right? That prompting exercise was a specs folder, right? Which had this phase wise plan to build this complete app. Okay. At least the MVP of it. And then we asked it to refactor it using the tracer bullet approach, which we then also added to our Claude.md. So every time we open Claude, it knows that it has to use this approach. Okay. And what are the credentials of the site, use agent browser for testing. And once that was done, we went ahead and just told, go ahead and implement the next phase end to end, right? And this was after a clear, right? So this is the story till now. I ran it twice after yesterday's call. So phase 0 is done, phase 1 is done, phase 2 is done. And right. So if we go to apna.localhost slash manage, right, you will see it has added this UI to add venue. For example, Smash Arena. You can add details about your venue. You can attach a cover image if you want to, right? Let's add this dinosaur for now, right? Publisher is required. Where is it? Yeah, and then you can add resources. So code A, code B, code C, as we had in mind, right? You can define the availability, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? And date exceptions, basically. So notice it uses this technical terms which we have to somehow mention in Claude.md that this is important, use user-friendly text and whatnot. But then you can make it non-open. So Monday, maybe your venue is closed on Sunday. So this is the manage area where someone can come, sign up and publish there. And then there is also pricing. So you can have a pricing rule, right? Weekdays, weekend, etc. that we had mentioned in our spec. There is gallery. So you can add images, right? About your venue. Then there is publish section where the status shows publish and it gives you a link which you can share with the user to book, right? And if I open that link, we have this nice header banner. Then you have code A, code B, whatever, however many resources you add. So this is just after phase 3, by the way. And you can select multiple slots as we had asked it to, and it already looks decent, right? Usable. So then I can go and say book 2 slots. I have to give my details. 977 Email is optional. That is fine. Proceed to pay. So this is mock payment. It has hold it for 10 minutes. which is exactly what we wanted. If someone tries to book now, it will show blocked for now. And then pay. Booking confirmed, right? For this quote 12 to 2. Awesome. This is the flow we wanted, right? Except for the original payments part. I did not do any additional prompting after yesterday. It's just following those original specs, right? And I'm just giving it this that go ahead and implement next phase. As soon as it is done with that, I just clear the context and run the same prompt again. Go ahead and implement the next phase. That is what I have been doing. Nothing more, right? And if you check the progress.log file, which we had asked it to maintain, it will tell you that till 3 is done. So tracer bullet, publish venue management, public venue page and availability, booking, locking, and mock payment. Third is notifications, reviews, and dashboard, and then there is something else. So it's doing step by step, tracking what all has been done, acceptance, right, and some notes, I think. Yeah, log. But this is all Frappe UI, right? And then you can book and book more if you want to. There is no list view yet, so we should probably ask it to add a list view as well. But manage is there. So apparently it has created two Frappe UI apps, one for the admin side slash manage and one for the public side slash V, right? And we can easily ask it to refactor the public side to use www pages or Jinja based server side rendering in order to get SEO, right? But right now I'm not looking forward to it because anyways SEO is not relevant here. But yeah, good MVP, right? You can test it out. You can publish it after you have payments. For example, I can create a new venue. So for in here in my city, there is just from 400 meters, there is a turf. Kick and hit club, right? Their base price is 300, right? And then the city is Jagdalpur. Contact phone is not sure, any random phone. Address is fine. Vrindavan Colony. Description is fine. Booking rules. Smoking is not allowed at the term. Then we can hit save. It's saved. And I can go to availability. It is fine. So by default, it's 0 slots. So we can have a slot of 30 minutes each. Open at 9 a.m. right on Monday, and 30 minutes is the slot. So 9 to 9:30, 9:30 to this, so on and so forth. We can go up to 10 p.m. I would want the UX to be good because this is not good, right? So that is the thing now you have to do, right? Polish. You have to tell it, okay, this does not work. It just works, but where it is hard. I have to go to each one of them and add 9 a.m., right? So how do you manage all custom apps in one bunch? One bench and one site for each app. So there is just one bench and there is just one site for each custom app. For example, apnaslot.localhost, wiki.localhost. So there is one site for each custom app, erp.localhost for ERP next, and so on and so forth. But yeah, let's define a pricing that on weekends, surcharge is 200 rupees. And then we can go and publish it. It's at least one active resource. Okay, we need to have resource. Quote, main quote, football slash cricket, right? And they also have this two quotes of pickleball.
Yes, pickleball is trending nowadays.
Yeah, yeah. Somehow I was not able to get any slot yet because it's going full.
Okay.
So recently we went to the main court, the BWH team, and we played cricket. So category is pickleball court
But when you come to
one.
Bombay, you will get a lot of codes.
Yeah. Publish venue, yes. And this is the shareable link. Kick and hit club. Okay, there are some stylistic issues, but at least now they see the rules here. They have the contact and whatnot. Main court, pickleball court one. And if you want the pickleball court one, so it was supposed to be 30 minutes each. Okay, only on Monday it's 30 minutes each. So if I go to 13, nope. What was the day? Availability open at 9 a.m. Okay. I'm just trying if there is a bug. Okay. Probably this is doing something. So let it complete. It's changing the backend and whatnot. But yeah, you get the idea, right? That this is what is happening. There is this loop after a point. So you have the normal prompt and then you go into plan mode, right? And then an output of that is specs, right? So those specs are in the specs directory, right? And for each new feature, you can first create a spec, and then even specs are broken down into tracer bullet, tracer bullets, right? It's just a way of breaking down tasks at a vertical layer or a horizontal layer, right? End to end. Actually, it's vertical because you have front end, you have back end, front end, back end, and database, right? So by default, the agent will try to do this, right? It will build the entire front end first. It will then build the back end, or it will do a vice versa thing where it will build the backend first, then the front end or database first. Similarly, like, but it will build the entire database layer before going there, or build the entire backend layer before going to the front end. This tracer bullet approach, what it does, it slices it into vertical slices. So it builds the little bit of front end required to test the little bit of backend required to test the little bit of database. Okay, so this is the slicing strategy. This comes from engineering, by the way. So it's not very specific to AI, but this works well with agents because they can quickly test their work, and that is what we want, to iterate faster, iterate sooner, right? That is the point. But yeah, so once you have the tracer bullet, what you do is you ask the agent, you have an empty context, right? You don't need the planning context or the context where you broke down the task, right? Because then you are already at 25-30% of context. So see, already it's midway of the first task and it's 11%. So there is no way you can implement all the phases in even at 100%, right? So what happens at 100% is the LLM will, or the harness will either tell you to start a new session, or nowadays they compact it automatically. Compact means they will summarize whatever chat you had into, let's say it will bring 100% to 10%, right? By generating a summary. That's also bad because it loses a lot of information, right? So you never have to be in that position. I used to do that and then I had to do a lot of rework because the output was so bad, right? But yeah, once you have this, you can then go ahead and just spin up a new agent, right? It can be executor agent, executor as in sonnet, etc. Because now the planning is done. It's just about execution, right? So you don't need those thinking mode models anymore. The thinking is already done. It's about generating the code and the execution. Okay. And then prompt it to pick one phase and implement, right? And in implementation, we have also mentioned that it should test. So if we open up our, yeah, use agent browser to test end to end. Okay. And implement. So implementation will also involve it to verify and then commit. Okay. And then you can start again a new session. So this is a loop, as you can imagine. So after this is done, you again go back to step. this. So it's a loop. This is the loop, right? And there's not just two steps. I have combined a lot of steps here. So new agent, right? And then there is analyze the spec. This is what it is actually doing. Then it will implement, test, right? And then commit, right? So this is what is happening. So new agent, analyze the spec, whatever spec is the next thing. So it will also read progress log. That is why you need to maintain a progress log because every time in the every iteration there is a new agent, right? It does not have any previous context. So it will read, analyze the spec and progress, right? So this is what is happening. And I'll tell you why I'm telling you this, right? Just few minutes, test, commit, and then again a new agent, right? Where is the manual process here? Which step is manual right now? So once this phase is done, right, testing, migration, reconcile, who will start the new agent?
User.
The user. What I did was I exactly did it, right? I cleared the context and I asked it again the same thing that now go and fix the next phase, right? So this piece where the commit is done and I'm spinning a new agent, it's actually manual right now, right? So I don't want that. I want it to go and keep building, keep verifying, and then at the very end, when all the specs are implemented, then only I want to view it. Okay. It could be just one spec file with multiple phases. You can also split it that way, right? So right now I did not split one spec into multiple phases. I could have also done it, right? So let's say you have spec 0, right? Spec 1, right? And inside those specs, you have phases. Let's say you have phases here. You also have phases here, right? So P0, P1, P2, P3. So instead of going, okay, go and implement spec 0 entirely, I will say pick up spec 0, P0. So in a new agent only implements phase 0 of a spec, right? So this loop becomes even more, what do you say? The number of times you have to execute it increases because for each spec, for each phase, you are starting a new agent, right? And why are we doing it? Because we don't want the context window to be polluted. We want the feedback cycle to be shorter. This is the thing that is giving you the better output, right? And this is what makes it different from Vime coding, okay? This process. And once that is done, right, we manually are doing it. So now there is a concept of loops because naturally you could see this is a loop, right? And if we somehow can write some script, right, that will do the spinning of this agent because rest of this the agent is doing itself, right? The testing, committing, and everything. And then has there has to be one stop condition, right? Otherwise, this loop will keep going, right? It's sort of an infinite loop, right? So you can't write a loop without an end condition. Otherwise, it's just forever going on, going on, going on. So there are two ways you can do that. You can say, okay, this can be okay. Three times, right? Or four times or 10 times. Go and do this 10 times. So you can say 10 phases will be built, right? Or you can say until Spec 0 is complete, right? And here it is important to define what complete means, right? In the spec, there is acceptance criteria. If you see, if you go to spec slash booking locking, right? And there is acceptance criteria. So if your agent is not generating it, you can ask it explicitly to always generate acceptance criteria with the spec. This is this, this is this. So this is the acceptance criteria, right? Cool. There is also a new way to do loops is this goal command. You will find it both in Codex and in Claude Code, right? So if you go and type slash goal, you can tell it, right? Do this until this condition is met. Goal. Bring the get doc call to get doc, whatever, get slots API call to less than a second for 1 million records. Okay. Just an example. So what are you telling it? The goal is to get this API to take less than a second for 1 million records, right? So what the agent will do is it will keep improving or progressing towards this goal and won't stop until it has achieved that criteria that you have defined, right? So if you have a well-defined criteria, one more example is if you are building a public facing site, you want a lighthouse score of 90 above, right? You can tell it, okay, don't stop unless you have a lighthouse score of 90 above. So that is where goal-based loops come in, okay? And there is this defined one, and there is until spec 0 is complete, okay? So we'll see one specific variation of this, which is Ralph loop, right? Ralph or Ralph Wiggum loop. You can read about it, you can search, you will find n number of articles for this. But the idea is to write a script, right? A script that does this piece, okay? Spawning of a new agent, telling it something. In this case, our case was just simple go and implement the next phase, right? So the script will run Claude code with the same prompt again and again, right? This will be the prompt. So you can make it elaborate, right? And then second thing you also want is in the prompt, you will have some completion criteria, right? Output complete once all done. Okay. This is an early exit. But yeah, this is how Ralph loop works. You write a script. It is usually a shell script, right? It can be Python script as well. Doesn't matter. Something that can start Claude code, get it to run end to end, and then start it again with the same prompt. Okay. And for that, we can't use Claude Code, the TUI or the GUI, Claude Code desktop, Claude desktop, right? We need the script to be able to spawn agents in headless mode. Just like when rendering PDFs, you don't actually want the server to open a browser and render the PDF and click buttons and whatnot, right? It opens it in headless mode, as in it has no UI, just through commands it is controlling. Same, Claude has a headless mode with dash P, right? Where you can just give it the prompt and it will execute that and come back to you with just the output. Okay. So this is the concept behind Ralph loop. And I will show you an implementation of it, right? We'll create it for this, right? I will create a scripts folder here. I will create a ralph.sh, a shell script. Very well could be a Python script. Then I also need the prompt. Prompt, I can store it in the script itself, but I like to store it in a different file because then I can write markdown, get syntax, highlighting, whatnot. Is it clear till here? what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to write a script that will invoke the agent, get one phase done, then it will die out, then the invocation again until either 10, 20 maximum times have passed, or some condition is met that, okay, spec 0 is complete or whatever. Okay. That is what I'm trying to do. In our case, the prompt was very simple. It was pick up the next phase and implement, right? This was the important part. And you can elaborate, by the way. Check. So it does not waste token guessing. Progress.md for current progress. If all specs are implemented, just output complete and exit. Okay. That's it. And then the loop. Okay. So I can ask the agent to generate it for sure. Right. Let's just go back. We could wait for it to finish, or we could just open up a new Cloud Code instance. So let's just move hosty here. And this is at scripts slash valve.sh. So I want you to generate a simple shell script which will open Claude Code and run the prompt.md file prompt in it, and it should take a argument which will be maximum number of times the loop will run. There is an early exit criteria. If the agent emits complete, right, at any point in time, if one of the agents or the Claude Code invocations emits complete, stop the loop immediately. See, I'm asking it to implement the loop. You are just orchestrating things now. Okay. So it's trying to find the prom.md, which is fine. It found it. And after this, we'll see two things. First is right now there is no end-to-end tests. It's just testing on the fly. So need to add end-to-end tests. So we are
Hussein,
yeah.
that Hive ka PR I have given you response. In that chat, I have put photos and everything.
Yeah, I will check. There was just one concern. It's fixated to due date, right? Is there any way to make it flexible?
I didn't get you, sorry.
No, no. So it shows based on due date, the calendar view.
No, it is for everything.
Okay, you can switch between things?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't checked. So thanks. I
Yeah.
will finish it off today.
Yeah.
Mhm. So this is done. It takes max iterations, validates integer, each loop pipe to, and this is important, dangerously skip permissions because you are giving the agent autonomy. You go and implement, do whatever you want to. So people, what they do is they wrap it in a sandbox environment. You don't want it to mess up your computer, right? If it does something wrong, right? So there is a sandbox parameter, and people have also built other tools. You can search for sandbox agents and whatnot. Then you will be safe, right? It won't do anything that it is not supposed to do and crash your computers and whatnot, right? So that part just keep in mind, sandbox it. For simplicity, I'm not doing it. And then early exit is there. If the output is complete, stop immediately. Dangerously skip permissions needed for unattended loop, right? So this is the piece, unattended. So you can start it at night. I usually do that. with 20 iterations and go to sleep. In the morning, all of your things will be implemented and you can just test it out and iterate from there in the morning. Okay. So this is the script, right? So where is the loop? Yep, this is the loop, for loop. Okay. It's just invoking Claude again and again. Ayushman says to implement specs, do you need some skills installed or is it something built into agents? Agents are fairly good at it, but if you want, you can install OpenSpec. If you want a deterministic every time same spec format, then that is that. But I have not experienced a need for it yet because it has been fairly consistent with what it gives you. See, now what I can do is, so I have been doing manually, right? I have been, once this phase is done, go and implement phase two. Okay. I can exit from here, right? I can go to dot slash script slash ralph.sh 5 times. Okay. So it's running 5 times. First time, it will spawn a new agent. It will implement one spec. Then it will go to the next, next. Right? Any questions in loops? So this is what the state of the art is in agentic development. Okay. Phase 5 explicitly referred post, not an implementation phase. Okay, we are done with 0 to 5. So we should ask it to. So MVP phase is done. Let's mark the post MVP phases ready for implementation. But early exit works. That's a good sign. So I'll push this script as well to GitHub. So you can check it out if you want to. I will just git add dot git commit dash m. For running, how do you ensure permissions on what command is allowed to run and what are off limits? So what you can do is, right, when you're building manually, you have slash permissions, which you can configure and you can have that, okay, don't ever run rm-rf or blacklist some functions, right, which it is not supposed to run. You can do that using slash permissions. And similarly, in the command line, you will have some flags that you can pass. And you also have hooks, right? Just like you have git hooks, right? On commit, you want to run some formatter or whatnot. This agents or this harnesses, basically the Claude code or codex, give you a way to have hooks that before running or before using any tool is the thing you want to prevent, right? LLM calls are fine. This is the tool execution. For example, it should not be able to run uh, git uh, force push or whatnot, right? Force push should never happen to GitHub. That all you can blacklist. Okay.
पहुंचिए जल्दी पहुंचिए.
Sandeep, can you just quickly mute?
से सॉर्ट आउट कर और
हेलो.
इस स्टाफिंग जंक्शन की एंट्री करवा.
Okay. I
हेलो.
muted you. Who is it? I can't
रात
see.
के से.
Hey Raj. Yeah.
So Hussein, in this Ralph loop,
Hmm.
when this different agent is invoked, right? Let's say, for
Hmm.
example, first we invoke the coding agent, and it did the complete coding. After the coding, it invoked the QA agent, like testing agent. So does
Hmm.
another agent have the same context of the previous agent, like development agent? Because as we discussed previously, we shouldn't give the testing part to the agent
Same agent
context,
who has
say,
developed it. Hmm.
who has developed it. So I mean, can we have a different session of the agent which doesn't have context of the development part, so it's do the QA in standalone point of view?
No. So as soon as you spin up a new agent, right, the agent does not have a context of the last phase itself. So
Okay.
what you can do is, so you have the script, right? Instead
Mm.
of invoking just one agent and committing, what you can do is before it commits, right? Or here, here you can invoke another agent, right? New with a different prompt, QA agent, which
Okay.
tests what all changes have been made and staged, not committed yet, right? So we can try that. That's a good idea. Let's try it in this current project.
Okay.
And then you can commit. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you have a bigger loop. Basically, one agent is spawned for development. One agent is spawned for
Q.
QA. And you can have multiple phases. You can also have one for breaking down the spec into 6 or 7 phases. And
Hmm.
then spawn parallel agents and whatnot, right? You can do all sort of stuff, but the basic is this. You want some sort of self loop going on, which will also log progress somewhere. So the tricky part is that what if the QA agent finds something? How does it go back to the implementation agent? So what you need to maintain is some sort of memory for common shared memory. In our case, one shared memory is progress.md, which the
Hmm.
new agent will always check because the old agent will write it to progress. Whoever comes new can read that KT from progress.md. Similarly, you can have reviews.md from your Q&A agent,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
And then you can say whenever a new agent is started, before any new implementation, check if there are any pending reviews to be handled. Consider it a homework, do it, and you will be surprised how good it works.
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
Cool. There are questions in the chat. Let me just take. Pushkar says, I read a tip somewhere where they say don't use the word MVP or else Claude becomes lazy. Tell it you have a thousands of user. What's your take in it? Okay. What Gopi says, what would you recommend as the best approach for implementing all of these changes in the program already built instead of starting a new project? Same thing. Start with a Claude.md and then uh, start adding things, right? Start with a review first. So what I usually do is open up your code base, say audit the entire code base using these 2 skills or these 3 skills, right? So do that. So suppose you already have a Frappe app, and you want the agent to audit it for things, right? Is the code object oriented? So first thing will be the audit in an existing code base. Based on that, you can form specs to either refactor or add new features. Does that answer your question? So first thing is audit is the word for you in the prompt. Audit. But yeah, let's try to implement this. Yeah, it's writing the specs, so we can try it out. In the meantime, what I can do is I can write QA prompt.md, right? And this is a trick you can use, right? You are a senior quality assurance engineer whose job is to scrutinize the maybe too harsh is to test changes done by a senior developer on this project latest phase, right? So it is important. I don't want you to review everything, only the uncommitted changes should be reviewed. Write your review in reviews.md, and since I don't want it to find it at random places, I can just create a reviews.md scripts. Reviews.md with the status, right? So only the committed changes should be reviewed. Uncommitted changes, sorry. Only the uncommitted changes should be reviewed. Write your review in this with a status and exit. So now in the Ralph loop and the prompt, I can say before implementation check reviews dot md. Again, I can say slash scripts slash reviews dot md and prioritize the reviews before anything. If you fix anything in review, commit it and exit. Do not implement the next phase in the same cycle. Okay. So I'm telling it, just fix it, mark it done, mark it done too, right? Does this give you the taste of what agentic engineering look like? So instead of writing the code, you are writing this prompts, right? And you are writing these scripts that will give you as much autonomy and speed as possible and orchestrator and quality and everything, right? So this is your job now, right? Developers. So yeah, now we can enhance the script. So I've added a QA prompt.md. So after every implementer agent iteration, I need you to spin off a QA agent before, or yeah, I think that will commit only. So we'll have to change this. Only the last committed change should be reviewed. Okay. Q&A agent, QA agent with QA prompt dot md. Yep. Now every iteration will have two agents. One is that agent, second is second, and then you can again have one more agent for code reviews and whatnot. Uh, Imagination. Loop becomes implementer, check complete, Q&A. Yep. See. So now it has two Claude invocations. One is this implementation prompt, other is this QA prompt. Done. Okay. So now it has added this. And then I can improve prompt.md. Check progress for current waveform spectre implemented. Pick the thinnest slice for implementation from any spec from the next spec. Okay. Let's run the loop. Exit dot slash scripts. So implementer is running. It will go and implement it. Okay. But yeah, I'll push all this so you can review, right? But yeah, this was just an example. I usually don't do QA prompt because if you break it down to smaller pieces, most of the times it will be good quality output, right? If you do the create Google, make no mistakes approach, then good luck. It's not going to work. Does it save token? So you will have to save the tokens, right? The loop itself does not guarantee the tokens. You have Caveman installed, so that should do some things, but you will have to control the tokens somehow. So every loop you might want to check how many tokens are being used and log it, right? For what I can guess, they will use more tokens instead of less because you're spinning off new agents, right? But the quality will again dramatically be different. More in the sense it won't implement something extra because your new invocation, it has to read the progress and everything that had, what do you say? That piece will add up. How to use headroom? Do you have a run it on every agent you spin up an agent? So headroom is a wrapper around your harness. It's not a skill. It's a wrapper around your Claude core or codex. So you might want to add a alias that starts your Claude code with headroom. Just like I have Clauded, right, which starts Claude code in dangerously skip permissions or YOLO mode. You need to have an alias that says headed Claude or something, and then headroom starts it with Claude. So that is how it works. Yeah. Because it has to proxy any tool calls. So it can save tokens. That is the point of headroom. I know I have set it up, but I've used it once only. It was just last week, I guess. So I need to set up an alias. I'm telling you also, and I'm also telling myself that I need to set up an alias if I want to use headroom. Otherwise, I won't be able to because I'm just lazy to spin up Cloud Code directly and work on it. Yeah. So one more thing I usually do in my prompt of Ralph loop, you can check Hive's script slash Ralph, right? That is even more interesting, right? What it does was instead of reading the specs, it checks GitHub issues and picks one GitHub issue, implements it, closes the GitHub issue, right? And anytime in Hive there are issues, so team raises the issues in Hive in VMS. I just start a Ralph loop. Okay. Cool. While this is happening, I should have done it less. Yeah. Commit the specs as well as any changes in the scripts folder in two separate commits. But yeah, let it do whatever it does. So yeah, there are two things now that I want to do. First is the documentation for the app, some simple documentation at least. Then second thing is end-to-end tests. Right now it is using the agent browser every time it has to run the same set of tests and it only tests its own things, right? There are no regression tests that okay, it is not breaking previous phase ka implementation. For that, we have end-to-end tests, right? And I'll show you my approach of getting end-to-end test in an existing project or a new project. That is just referring to a project that already has that setup because it's mostly boilerplate. It's no logic. Have some water if you have. So I have used agent browser and feel like it is very token intensive, which can easily be replaced with screenshots manually. Do you have any suggestion? Uh, Not sure. If it was not hurting your productivity, you can do screenshots. So you can do end-to-end tests, right? They don't take tokens that much because the agent is not reading the output. It is deterministic, right? Agent browser is fine for one of first cases. It should not be every iteration. It should not be testing all of the things. Okay. So the approach is you make the agent write tests, UI test, instead of it going and testing the UI. Does that sound good? Yeah. So let's do one thing and then I will go in plan mode. I'll ask look into apps slash hive on how it implements E2E test setup and replicate it exactly for this app, including the CI. Yep, this is the prompt you have to tell that look at any app that already has it and then set it up. And there was a question yesterday I missed to answer that I mentioned I'm not using less and less Figma. and I spin off parallel agents to implement five different designs. Okay. So that is fairly simple with this harnesses. What I can do is I can go into some different, let's go into learning slash AI. Is there, go to slash AI. I might have AI folder. Who doesn't these days? And I built this game, by the way. So sometimes you're not building just work stuff because you have agents, you can do anything you want. So I built this game. And I'll go into experiments and we'll go into mkdir portfolio. We can take a simple example. CD portfolio, Clauded. Build, run five parallel agents and build um, five variations of portfolio for me. Check my GitHub profile, check my LinkedIn, um, build with Hussein, and use real data wherever possible. Search for my blogs. You will find them on frapper.io and buildwithhussein.com. And come up with five unique designs. Use front-end design skill if needed. And yeah, let's do five in parallel. Okay. So notice this part. I did not say the URL right. So Whisperflow has settings where you can give it this specific URL. So whenever you mention it, it will paste those URL in your transcript. Cool, right? So it could be your email, your website. So you just have to say my website or my LinkedIn, and it will be replaced with your actual links. Super. See, first it is doing some research on my GitHub profile, my LinkedIn profile. That is fine. See, three agents are running in parallel. One is researching the GitHub profile, LinkedIn profile, and one is looking for my blogs. So it's decided on five variations: terminal, dev, CLI, editorial magazine style, neo brutalist, minimal Swiss grind, grid, not grind, playful gradient, class morphism. Okay. So once the research is done, we'll do this. Where is our loop? It's still in the implementation phase. See, no reviews, reviews empty. 5.1 is complete. Specs plus progress reconciled. And now QA is happening. Okay. Nice. Phase 5.1 is shipped in this commit. At this point in time, I had to come and start the Q&A myself. Right now, it's the loop that is doing this thing. And go search loop agentic loop engineering and whatnot all over Twitter right now. But at the simplest terms, it is just removing that manual step of you spawning off new agents with a shell script or a Python script. But the design is up to you. How many agents do you want to work in one iteration? Where do you want to store the specs? And there is a concept which I intentionally keep out of this cohort is a concept of memory, right? Because this LLMs don't have any memory of their own, right? As we saw, right, you have to send the entire context again as prompt. That is their memory. So you will need to store the details somewhere, right? And till now, we have done it through markdown files. People have fancier ways, they have some databases and whatnot, right? But yeah, search for it. You will find some open source projects as well, which are very good at it. One is Super Memory, and there are others as well, Memory and whatnot. Memory is something else. Forget about it. It was Super Memory. And if you go to Super Memory GitHub, it's an open source one. So memory and context engine plus app that is extremely fast, scalable, and can run fully. The memory API for the AI era, right? So there are projects like this which help you manage the context window and memory and what it has done till now and whatnot. But yeah, I have been doing this with markdown files and just it just works fine, right? Entire Donna's brain is just markdown files. I'll show you after this. Okay. All SOPs, it's just markdown files and Python scripts to add that deterministic part. So I don't want a customer to get a different message every month. Okay, here is your invoice. This is the format. That's it. That is why you need scripts. Okay, what did it do? Say review done, return to this. Status is pass, no blocking bug. So you can again improve the prompt that what is blocking, what is not. Non-blocking is this performance issues. And then verified, it has started the second implementer. So I have gave it 10, right? So it will keep going, which is fine. Now you understand loops. That is done. You can rewatch this part if you want to, but that's the entire premise. Okay, it find out all about me. Do not invent projects and numbers. So data file is written, and now that it is going to start 5 agents. See, one, two. Keep in mind it is going to eat a lot of tokens, right? But the speed of iteration you get is crazy. Three, right? At the same time, there will be five. So three is done. Now time for four. Come on. Four. Yep. So this is the approach I used to take. And the other approach is you can have toggles. You can ask it to implement one page and have toggles in that. For example, if you're trying out different card designs, you can say that implement a customizer of sorts where you can customize things, right? That, okay, the card is there, but you can select different styles and see how it looks. Does it look good? Or is it does it match your taste, or do you want to do something else, right? So those are two approaches you can take for experimenting and playing around, right? I'll give you a real example from a client project we are working on. So the client wanted, uh, so we have an e-commerce platform called Shoe Lifestyle or SA Ecom. You might find it somewhere. I'm not. We renamed it to something else, but yeah, that is an open source project, right? It builds on top of web shop, but they wanted a different search backend, Algolia or something. Even before that, they wanted to build. I think that's okay, a local based search, right? SQLite. And so they wanted us to evaluate options, right? So we could have done the research, we could have read about this. What we did instead was we asked the agent, can you create a POC, right? That is the important piece. You can create a POCs very fast. Can you create a POC that has 1 million records in the database, or however many thousand? I think it was 300,000 records in the database. So it's very good at seeding in data to your Frappe site and generating realistic data. And we asked it to implement all the 5 search algorithms that were in comparison, right? So before agentic era, we had to decide and implement one POC, right? We are not restricted anymore. I asked it, Rahul asked him or it or whatever you want to pronoun it with. But yeah, the idea was then it implemented that search. So the client can toggle and see what experience do they want and what features are they getting out of each search. And then they can decide. As easy as that, right? So those approaches you have to discover now, that how fast can we iterate? How can we give the most value to the end user, right? But yeah. So we are, that is why not worried to lose our jobs or the agency business, because now we are leveraging AI plus. Maybe I should take a cohort on just how to run an agency, Frappe framework plus apps. But yeah, not sure how useful that would be, because I am the one now realizing it is tougher than I had imagined, because I'm 1 year, no, one more than a year out of Frappe now. Cool. See, it's doing it. I should have asked it one page. I did not probably. But yeah, let it do this. In the meantime, okay, customer my booking left for next cycle and it is doing a QA. I'll kill it for now. Right? I will start it later if I want to. See, so we can continue with adding the tests for now. Implement end-to-end test, replicate exactly for this app, including the CI. How many example playwrights have shipped with E2A harness? One smoke spec is fine. Yeah, LS Shop is the name. LS Shop. This is the e-commerce. Yep. I will share it on the chat. So replicate Hive's end-to-end. This is yes and bypass permissions. It should be fine because we have entire details here. Yeah, this will give you end-to-end tests. The second thing we want to do is let this build the portfolio. It is fine. Go to Apna slot, start a new Claude session. I want you to write README for this app at its current state. Use add a table of content. Use screenshots wherever relevant, and yeah, note down the tech stack and keep it simple English. Don't use M dashes. Um, that was it. So it's generating all the end-to-end test scripts, by the way. So you should never ask it without a reference, otherwise it will hallucinate. Burn a lot of tokens figuring out how to integrate end-to-end test in a Frappe environment, right? So just make sure you are giving it a reference to copy from instead of making it figure out everything. Okay. I've done that exercise once and now I use that same boilerplate code everywhere. I think two are done. Shows green. Yeah.
And
Variation. Three is
wait,
done,
wait,
two is done. Yeah.
what is the testing reference you said? You said
App slash Hive. We have the same setup on app slash VMS. And now you will have the same setup on Apna slot as well. So you can take anyone as a reference. All
okay,
the
so
same
basically
setup.
we're using that end-to-end testing as reference from that project.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So 1, 4, and 5 are left. Let's just open it up in VS Code. Yeah. So see, it has created 5 folders. 2 and 3 are done, right? So we can watch 2 and 3. Open in integrated browser. Ha! Building from Jagdalpur, full stack app, live and unscripted. Frappe framework developer, educator, and writer who teaches web build in public. Ah, not bad. Coding series. He joined Unfrappe as Inter 2021 over 4 years, became the company's first product evangelist. Okay. He left to found Studios, a consultancy and open source content house that in his was profitable on day one in one entrepreneurial since childhood. Too much now. Used a real photo, that is a good thing. 4 years at Frappe, 20 plus live episodes. It's more than that. 180 plus public repositories. That might be good. Build with Hussein started as a way to showcase the power of Frappe while sharing my passion for teaching. Okay, nice. It is animated as well. Yeah. See, these are real blogs. Gopi, we'll go over it. Let it complete the testing part and we'll come to it. Stop using GetDoc for everything. Real blogs, I think they point to the real thing. Yep. Top 10 announcements from Frappleverse 2023 is also real. Syncated on Frappe.io. Okay. In the classroom, Frappe Framework 0 to Hero. Official Frappe school partner. Very real, very nice. Buzz, NanoPress, Forms Pro, Batvara. Career column. Okay. The toolkit. Ha. Watch on YouTube. Stated mission 1 million subscribers. Hey, where did it get it this from? Hey, I don't think I have ever mentioned it in a public page or me. I have. I'm not sure. Oh, talks. Nice. Ha. Let's check 3. Ha. Also decent. Oh, if I hover, it stops. Nice. See? Pretty cool. Oh, okay, 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 okay. By the way, this is all, you might not get the same output thing. So use front end design skill, right? Which makes it better at one shotting all of this. Okay, 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 okay. Subscribe on YouTube. Share link of share link of this. Oh, the UI skill. It comes by default with Claude Code, front end design by Anthropic. Skills.sh front. Oh, it's one of the top skills, by the way. In fact, after find skills is number one. So, not in this one. I haven't used any. This skill suffices in such scenarios. Hmm. Okay. What about the other variations? Except 5, everything is done. 5 has burned 1 lakh tokens. I am expecting a nice one. Let's check the first one.
One
Okay.
recommendation.
Huh?
One recommendation.
Yeah.
Uh, the whole sort of concepts which you're talking about in this class, you could possibly also use the front-end design skill to actually make a presentation so that everything is in one place. That could be helpful, I think. There's a lot of sort
Hmm.
of nuggets you're sharing in all the places.
Hmm.
I think it'll be helpful if you put everything in one place so that the notes, almost like a notes where you can say, okay, fine, this is a summary of whatever we have learned, in sort of 2 pages or
Makes
3 pages.
sense. Makes sense. What I will do is I will take out these videos, I will transcribe them, and I will ask the agent to then prepare nice notes and tips and tricks and everything
So
with
here's
links.
your easy way of saying no slides, huh?
See, so this is also nice concept. See, okay, okay. So it has this files as per. I like this. Okay, this is novel. Okay, okay. .md. Developer vibe. Nice. And there was a start animation if you see. Okay, variation 1 is also quite good. YouTube.md, talks.sh, contact.env. Creative. Let's try variation 4. Reveal, open an integrated browser. This is boring. This is boring. I don't like it. Let it go. Is 5 done? 5 is not yet done. It's taking 13 minutes. Ayushman says, hi, is it so fun to be AI everything? Yeah. We live in a very, I don't know, lucky to be in this phase. Yeah, 5. 5 is done. Okay, building a gallery landing page with all the 5. Okay, okay, okay. Do it. And then use the Netlify CLI to deploy it in Netlify. Okay, that let's complete the loop if we are at it. So it's probably building an index.html somewhere. Yeah, let's check the variation 5 which we wanted to. Ha! My photo is pixelated, but apart from that, decent. Not as creative as variation 1 and 3. Oh, Doppio has 350 stars now. Good. Mhm. Good. So it built this index.html. Let's. Oh, so to view all the 5 variations. Ha. But yeah, that is fun. We can do this all day, but let's finish this thing off. And someone asked about the end-to-end test, right? So do one thing, raise a separate PR with these changes of end-to-end tests. So we can see and discuss what it changed, right? Instead of just pushing it directly to main. README is done. Okay. Let's check the README of our app. This is it. Command Shift V. Yep, Apna slots. Slot booking made simple is a Frappe app that lets venue owner publish their turfs, courts, and halls online and lets consumer browse, pick, and play all in one place. A venue owner called a publisher sets up weekly hours and prices. Okay, so screenshots. See, find a venue. This is one of the phases the Ralph loop implemented. Crazy fast you how you can build software these days. See, it has a review as well, so you can rate your experience and whatnot. You can have my venue. See, it did a good job of generating a README with screenshots and whatnot. And roadmap is also there because it has the specs. Awesome, awesome. Let me just push. Yes, commit and push to current branch. Yeah, PR is up. Let's review it. So yeah, for those who do not understand what I did with the end-to-end test setup, so there are two pieces of software which you can use for running end-to-end test. One is Cypress that Frappe framework uses, and the other is Playwright that I use, right? And I have set it up once for one of the apps, and for the rest of the apps, I just copy that setup. I ask the agent to copy that setup, but because it's mostly the same, you have to set up Redis and whatnot, and the different part is only the install app part where the app name is different. Okay. And then it has all the setup. So what this brings is this thing, right? So, okay, where are the UI tests? Maybe it will start. Yes, UI test. See? So this is not there out of the box. This is there out of the box in Frappe if you said yes to add GitHub Actions. But UI tests are added when I told it to, right? Cool. So UI test makes sure that end to end everything is passing, linter is failing, see. So what you could do is to your loop, you can also say push it to GitHub, see everything passes, then only go to next step. So you can enhance that loop as you learn more things, as you do more things, right? Is it clear now what the end to end test is? So Joshi says for UI UX, no, it's for the first iteration mostly and bug fixes later. For example, what I usually do is the phase wise implementation, I will do a loop and implement it end to end. Once the MVP is there, then I will manually test it end to end, the product piece, the functionality, the UI. Then I will start my speech to text program. I will start speaking while I'm playing around with it, right? That button does not look good. It could be in a three dot menu. The tab could be here. All the UI related things, all the UX related things. I will just speak. This is not working. This flow should be simpler and whatnot. So it will then go and make a plan to enhance it. I will spec it out and again give it off to the loop to implement. Then the second piece is once you are done implementation, you have deployed it to production. Then my loop is a bit different. I run a loop that picks up GitHub issues, fixes them, and closes it. Right. So check app/hive on or BWS tech/hive in order to see a variation of that particular Ralph loop, which picks up GitHub issues, fixes them, closes it because you have the GitHub CLI. Right. Cool. Portfolio is live on Netlify. Cool. What is the URL to access? When was the last time you wrote code? 6 months ago, 8 months ago, not sure. But I know the exact moment when I was sold to agentic engineering, and it is caught on a live stream. I have to find it, but it was one of the last streams. Now I am figuring out what do I show because the live stream I used to do, right? What I used to build in 2 hours in that live stream, agent does it in 10 to 15 minutes without my intervention, right? Yeah, I did the entire coding for the CRM integration of Facebook. I did the entire coding. But after that, I'm not sure. So I think in the last episode of that event management app, I was doing some prompting somewhere and it surprised me. See, poor me playing with doc types, writing scripts myself. No, why it is there? Okay. But somewhere along here, I used the GitHub Copilot, the chat side of it. Then it worked very well. So that was the tipping point, I guess. But yeah, see, this is the URL and it is live in the world if you want to try it out. Cool. And this was possible because Netlify has a CLI tool, and I hope Frappe Cloud will have one too, so you can easily deploy your custom apps to the world from so agents can do it for you. Dheeraj says, Hussein, you used Claude Pro or Plus for all the demonstration. I am on a max plan. Pro, I exhausted in 2 weeks of discovering its full potential. It's a max plan, but it's totally worth it for me. Right? If you're just getting started, Codex Plus is what I would suggest to go with. Go with Codex Plus. If you have some dollars to spare, right? It is $20, I'm guessing 20 or $25 per month, but totally worth it. It will give you a taste, and then you can see if it's adding value to your workflow, and then you can upgrade based on that. It has to provide value at the end of the day. You should not be putting it out of your, so it should not make you losses in the project. That's what I mean. So if you are earning, let's say 20,000 rupees for a project, and buy a 20,000 rupees subscription of Claude Max to get it done, does not make sense. So you have to keep this in mind. Right? Is it worth it? And yeah, for me, Claude Pro, or so most of the teammates, most of my teammates have Claude Pro, and it just works fine for them because they are fixing bugs. They are even contributing to Frappe framework and other apps. Shreyas says is open code free tier good. Anybody in the audience can share their experience if you have used it. I have not used it, by the way. So try GLM 5.2 for coding if you are looking for open source models.
Hussein, can you sort of explain, because I'm not sure, how do you sort of tell the agent, for example, if you're using Frappe backend,
Hmm.
uh, are we going to be using single page app or separate UI, custom UI? You know what I'm like? I'm actually confused about, like, for example, how did we tell the current project the what sort of tech stack will that be, or is that automatically decided by it?
No, no. The
Like,
first prompt we gave, we asked it to use Frappe UI for the front end.
okay, okay.
Yeah, that is the base of the spec, basically. And I should have saved that prompt, right? I did not. I should have saved that initial prompt somewhere. So let's try to find it. 23 hours ago. Nope, not this one. Commit the specs. Nope. Resume. I'm trying to find. So commit the specs. Yep, this one. Resume full session as is. And this is the first prompt. See, we want to build a Frappe-based platform and Frappe UI in the front end. This is where it is defined in our initial prompt. So I decided it, not the agent, right? You could well say the agent, I want to build it in completely HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or whatever tech stack you want. But I think at the current phase, you should be deciding the tech stack, not the agent. Because you are the one who is going to maintain and then whatnot, right? So I decided
Hussein,
I want to use Frappe UI. Here you can say React or something as well. Yeah.
what is your point of view of how to choose that? So, for example, where would we use React or a front end rather than a Frappe UI? How would you decide, like, what sort of thinking behind that should be there?
So preference is if I am building anything serious right now, right, which is going to be shipped to Frappeverse users, for example, Buzz or Wiki, I want to stay as close to the ecosystem as possible, hence Frappe UI, because they are improving very fast. They have a lot of components, and my app will look like it belongs to the Frappe stack, right? That's
Okay.
when Frappe UI comes in. React is mostly for personal projects where the primary audience is us mostly, right? Our internal tools, our internal project management software, right? And where at certain point in time, Frappe UI feels boring for those sort of projects, right? That is why then I go and pick a nice theme from ShatCN and implement it in Frappe UI. The other decision factor is I can read Vue code better than I can read React code. So if you already have a preference for non-developers, I would suggest go with React, right? Why? Because agents are by default good at writing React because there is a lot of data all around. And if you ever face a bug or performance issues, it will be easier to fix in React. The agent will have easier time fixing it in React, not that you would be e- having that time. But yeah, then there are a lot of very good skills which you will find from parties like Vercel and whatnot, which you can plug and have good React code. So if you are a non-dev, go with React. If you are a developer who has some experience in Vue.js, go with Frappe UI, right? And even if you are a non-developer, just give Frappe UI a try because Faris is improving the agentic side of it, adding skills and whatnot, so it generates nice portals. Okay. The other thing is wait for Frappe Studio, right? Frappe Studio is coming in Frappeverse, right? A stable release we can expect. It also has AI integration where you can quickly build Frappe UI apps directly from the UI of Frappe Studio. Cool. This was the initial prompt. So dump the initial prompt verbatim in initial prompt.md at the root of the folder. So this is a good practice if you want to see what the first prompt was ever starting of the project. Just nostalgia stuff. Gopi says, I think the anti-gravity CLI is also a good option. So anti-gravity also has this VS Code sort of editor which you can try out. I have heard good reviews about it. I haven't used, but it has a generous free tier as far as I know. So Gopi says, in one of my projects, I used TanStack table, TanStack query, and Shatcn with Vue to build front end and connected it to Frappe backend. It worked. Yeah, yeah. Shatcn is good. So this is one piece of advice, right? If the agent you are transcribing it later, just make sure you add it to the notes. This meta stuff we can do with agents. But the idea is don't roll up your own design system, right? Don't ask it to implement buttons from scratch. Don't ask it to, otherwise, you're wasting a lot of effort and then you have to tune those buttons and whatnot because it's not good at that, right? If you want consistency, if you want it to ship to production, use an existing component library that like Shatcn or Frappe or anything. That will be one tip for building front end with agents. Okay. And what I usually do is you don't have to comply to this default style of things. What I do is I go to Shatcn whenever I'm starting a new project, right? I go to Shatcn create, right? And then I can play around with the theme. For example, if I am working with something funky, I can go to olive, emerald, orange, or let's go with rose. And then I can change the style to Rhea or Sarah. See, this has this buttons, and then rose does not look good now. Blue is fine. And then base color neutral looks good. Then icon library also you can choose. Maybe I want phosphor icons or huge icons, right? Menu, I want bold, right? And then you can see the look of it, okay? See? So this is how I do it. I theme it, and then click on get code, and then you can copy this and give it to your agent. Use this to set up the front end, right? And you can choose whatever you want. You can choose Vite, or I usually choose Vite and not Next.js. TanStack start also works, but Vite is fine. And then copy this. I have done this exactly in, I think, the video management solution episode. If you want to see that process of me using Shatcn with Frappe UI. Shatcn with Frappe framework. One thing, always put it in your Claude.md if you are working with React is for the first time, always use Frappe React SDK, right? So the agent is not reinventing the entire API layer, talking to the Frappe backend and whatnot. Frappe React SDK plus Shatcn. Good combo. But yeah, now you will get a nice looking UI, very professional. Quick tip, use Shatcn/create. I will share this link. You can explore, play around, build a project, and have fun. Awesome. So we do have 20 minutes left. Raj says if we have left with some time, then can you go through the architecture of your Donna agent you build with OpenClaw? Okay. All in on that? Should we do that? Or do you want to see something else? Because mostly the primary content is done. Okay. Show me a thumbs up if you're still there. Yeah, yeah. The accounts agent that I built. Yep, that one. So let's go to drawing board. So this is how it works. I purchased a virtual machine from Hetzner VM, right? It's I think a $6 or $7 machine. And then I hosted OpenClaw on it. So you can just search Google for OpenClaw. But nowadays I suggest you do Hermes. Donna is OpenClaw, but this is similar. So usually the way you interact with agents is either open up Claude Code or go to chatgpt.com, etc. This chat interfaces and then you chat, right? But what this OpenClaw, right, revolutionized was an agent that always is active. You can go to Telegram, it just acts like a person. And it could be Telegram, it could be WhatsApp, anything. It's your channel, right? In my case, it's Telegram. And that Hermes or OpenClaw runs on that VM, right? And you talk to it via your Telegram. So if we go here, copy this. This is you, and then you interact.
Hussein, you
Yeah,
said you have installed OpenClaw in VM. So
yeah.
what is the config of your VM?
Console.headsner. It will be 8 gigabit of RAM, 200 gigabit storage, something we can check. You can purchase it from anywhere. It's just a Linux VM. Nine two one five eight eight. 921588. And by the way, I did not manually set it up. Uh, okay, it's even cheaper than that. It's 4 gigabit of RAM and 40 GB disk. It's $4.99 per month, and then a codec subscription at
ये पकड़ना
20.
ये पकड़ना एक मिनट ये क्या है
Okay, the bottle
ये
fell.
हाथ से मत करना रुको
Okay, I have muted you, Mankamal. But yeah, this is the configuration if you want to. Cool. So then what I did was I opened up Claude Code, I gave it my VM credentials, and I asked it to set up OpenClaw in it. I did not do it manually, right? I'm not a DevOps person. And since you have agents, they are good at everything, right? So why not? Then it set up OpenClaw. And then slowly, so OpenClaw setup is straightforward. You can connect your Telegram bot and whatnot. You have to just create a bot, connect it, or you can use WhatsApp as well. And then you can have a chat with it, right? For example, I have Donna here. Uh, I'm trying to find the initial phases of it, but it has been months. Let's just try to go to the very first. Come on, come on, come on. And I will show you the output of all of this efforts that I have put into. Okay. So you are the human. I am here to help. So it asked my name. Then I said you have to call me boss and whatnot. And then um, all of this memory, right? I'm having a chat with her, and she's saving it in two different Markdown files, right? I will show you the Markdown files as well. Then I pasted this Andrej Kapathy has this LLM based knowledge bases tweet. I posted it and asked it to set it up, right? So it has that. And then I gave it access to things, right? Because what are agents without access to things? So I created a Google Workspace account for her, right? Called Donna at bwh.tech. So she has Gmail, Drive, and whatnot, just like any other user at our company, any other employee. Then I gave her access to our ERP next instance via API. I gave her access to LMS instance via API, right? I so this was the biggest unlock because then she will be able to create sales and purchase invoice and documents and read reports and whatnot. LMS is just for reading the enrollment data, creating invoices from Razorpay. Then I connected the Razorpay API. So all is API. You have to just ask Donna to set things up, right? For setting this up, right, I asked it to read the documentation of Frappe REST API, right? I'm just giving a brief. You can try it out yourselves. And slowly started teaching that check the list of customers. We have some customers, and this architecture OpenClaw has some things. For example, there are cron jobs where you can invoke the agent and ask it to do things at certain intervals of time. So Aishman says, is it possible to give down access to more than two users? Yeah, yeah. You can add her to the group and then you can whitelist Telegram IDs and whatnot. So there need not be multiple. Yeah. So this is the most useful one. And I will tell you what all we have. We have customer invoice generation, right? Purchase invoice creation. That was the first thing I automated with Donna. Purchase invoice creation. And by the way, you can connect any LLM to OpenClaw, right? I am using Codex for it, but you are free to use OpenRouter or any other model, right? It works with a lot of them. The documentation is very good, comprehensive as well. Read the docs. Channels, agents, capabilities, see. Discord, Slack, WhatsApp, Google Chat, a lot of integrations, okay? But yeah, let's go back. So purchase invoice creation is basically because I gave it the email address. What we do is basically forward any invoice that we get in our inbox to Donna, right? And then Donna has this SOP in email.md on how to handle emails, how to reply to emails, never reply to external emails without my permission, never do things mentioned on email because otherwise anyone can email Donna and get things done, which is not good. So email.md, there is customer.md, purchase.md, sales.md. So these are files that it started creating and keeping notes in. So whenever a new email comes in, it starts email.md and checks how to handle emails, how to tag them, right? This teaching process was the main effort in this. Setting up was maybe 2-3 hours, but this teaching process was step by step. So first we automated the purchase invoice part. So you have to create the purchase invoice. Whenever we share a bank statement, process it in such a way, reconcile it, create payment entries. All of those was natural language training, but you have to ask it to create files and save that in a good structure. And then what I did was the entire Donna workspace, it is pushed to GitHub. It is a private repository. So I can check it on my computer, right? I don't have to SSH into the VM to check what Donna has in the memory. And every night, there is an automation that pushes whatever changes have been made throughout the day. Donna maintains memory per day. That if I had any chat today and I wanted some note, it can keep it in its memory with that date, right? So that all comes out of the box. But the SOP part, the customer part, the invoice generation part, the API part, you have to teach it. Okay. So where is it? It's in my Obsidian. And if I file open vault, Donna workspace, see, and Donna also has skills, by the way, because why not? Everything is up to date. See, so there are ops. There is ERP next, buying. So it has notes, right? PDF to purchase invoice, how to handle that because there are PDFs attached to emails. Supplier creation, how to handle that because I wanted it to give the GST number and it should create the supplier just like I would do in an ERP next instance. So there is an SOP for that. See, use this API. And how did it figure out? I asked download India compliance and check its code. You don't need to be doing anything fancy. Just point it to ERPNX. Just point it to because it can download and see things. It's not your usual accountant. Just remember, it's super powerful. It knows coding as well. So you might as well use that, right? So it figured out, and then there are some examples, right? Examples learned on 7th of April. See, it keeps note of these things. This is its memory, this markdown files. There is also memory per day, as I mentioned, right? Then there is billing, which is which has the list of customers. I should not be showing you this, but let's go into Frappe, and then there is customer.md. What is the amount we charge? Which is fine. Look at it. Just this is real data, right? Billing cadence, first of every month, retainer plus a variable component. Fixed component is 3.5 lakh that will be billed to Frappe. What is the variable component? Variable component must be confirmed with boss every month. So it will message me on Telegram. Can you confirm the variable component? How to create the payment entry, how to mark the TDS, all of it figured out. And then there are samples that we had created manually, right? So slowly, for each customer, we built it, tested, and then went it live. So now it's almost automated, right? We just have to audit and whatnot. Similarly, if you go inside financial and statements, you will find all the statements we have shared with Donna in nice CSV format. So it processes it, right? Then we have scripts. I think scripts are not copied over because I might have Git ignored them. Then ERP next related things, Razorpay MCP setup, right? How do you talk to Razorpay? Because we had this workflow. I want to write a blog in it, but we haven't. Razorpay pays you in settlements, right? So suppose you bought 3 seats, then Razorpay will cut its charges and whatnot and GST and then book it, right? And the manual step was even taking so much time because we had to reconcile, check the Razorpay dashboard and how much they paid, check the email, check the bank statement. So since Donna has access to the Razorpay API, she calls it every morning and checks has Razorpay processed any settlement. Settlements API is there. It checks what were the charges in that settlement. So a lot of automations there, right? And there is also a wiki where I share blogs with Donna and she keeps summaries and whatnot for later purposes. And P statements are also processed. Supplier creation was the first thing we taught, and then Razorpay settlement SOP. Customer payment receipt needs to be created. What should be the account? So I haven't written it manually by hand, right? So Raj asked what it makes any mistake, and if you want to learn it new way, do you give instruction in Telegram chat or manually edit? No, I never touch the MD files manually. I just asked Donna to learn it. So let's just search note. Go ahead, create doc types and verify custom doc types. That is fine. Let's give it a try. In a mini app, doesn't show. That is fine. Let me show you a good example. So for the B2B 2322, the issue is that the contact person field is correct. But where did you pick the contact? We don't need to cancel anything, but we want to check this. So once it does the investigation, check the script. Head on up, please create one invoice for this payment. Okay. Submit and create PE. So this is the approach I take, right? I ask it to create, just do one thing before any automation, ask it to create one invoice end to end, and then ask it to convert it into a Python script, right? Fetch this, uh, create a draft invoice. So initially it is all manual, and then I ask it, do it on a schedule every week, every month, and whatnot. You have taken why, so there's this. I ask her questions, and then she's, you are right. I used item level discount to force the total, but the cleaner ERPNX shape is item stays this because at first it did not knew how to handle coupon codes, right? In the earlier cohort, we had coupon codes, right? Then it learned. It also updated the script and routes, right? Can you send me a PDF of it? See, it sends me PDF. Cool, submit this. Use the email template SOP for that and send the invoice. It sent the invoice. Let's update the script. See, I just talk to it via Telegram. No manual intervention in terms of going and writing in the markdown files. And I might have triage. So it, yeah, see. We need a cron job to sing and respond to emails every 10 minutes. So you are not even scheduling cron jobs, right? You are asking it to do things, run commands and whatnot, full autonomy in that VM. Ayushman says, what were your feelings when the Telegram ban notification was published? Turns out, Donna VM is deployed on Europe. So it was working and sending notification. Just I was not able to reply to her. And which was fine because it is mostly autonomous these days. She does not need much input. See, she just sometimes yesterday, like we did something. Otherwise, it's mostly, see, it processed the purchase invoice herself. It notifies me. That's it. No manual, less and less manual it became as it learned things. Okay. But yeah, easily justifiable. $20 subscription, 25K to an accountant per month. What do you want? So invoice, IGST, GST handling, everything she does. Reconciliation, LMS, invoices. The teaching phase is the only thing that you have to keep in mind. Okay. But yeah, we are at the end of the cohort.
So,
Hopefully it was useful. If you have any questions, you can ask now.
Hossein, one question.
Yeah.
So, I think this is fantastic. Like, for example, whatever you have built, and of course, this cohort was also good. I have some recordings to go and see. But then the bigger question is that, for example, once we start building these things up, right, there will be a lot of bugs that can come up. There could be a lot of more learning that's required. So, how can we continue this? For example, what I really liked was in this 3 days, I was in a company wherein a lot of people are learners who want to build something with AI. But the bigger question is that how do we continue this? Because once we have taken this learning, we will start applying it and there will be some difficulties. So, any thoughts on that?
Um, I'm not sure. Is there, so how I do is through Twitter and seeing people how they are using AI and doing that. But maybe we can have a community or a Telegram group and then people can ask, share, whatever. I think Discuss platform is also good. If nowadays a lot of people are using AI, so discuss.frappe.io, you can start a thread maybe
Okay.
if you're doing something. So I think that would be a good way to then have some community collaboration because people are also now using skills. Like I showed you, right? Ankush posted on Discuss. Even Frappe first party folks are available on Discuss. So maybe that is the right way. So you
Mhm.
post a thread on Discuss that I have tried to build this accounting automation on top of ERP Next, and this is where I'm stuck. So people are like very active in the AI hot topic right now. So I think that will work.
Okay. Okay. And any thoughts on any new program that you're coming up with for specifically? I'm looking for like anything for like non-tech folks. I think
Mhm.
anything on that front, or maybe just thinking, evaluating.
After Frappe works probably because I have done this cohort back to back. So
Ah,
first thing I will do is I will edit out this video and make a course out of it so anybody can view it and then think about what will be the next natural step to do because I don't want to repeat the same cohort. Uh, so what I will do is I will first cut it into a course so anybody can then take it at their own pace. The next phase would probably will be going into specialized things like how end-to-end setup of an accounting automation. Like for example, we can have a 2 day training on that. So that is my just thinking out loud thought process right now, but nothing is on uh, concrete right now.
No, no, this is great. I think what you said that you're looking out for projects based. I think that's what we all require, right? How do we can implement things? This is learning, that's great,
Hmm.
but definitely we're looking
Hmm.
for implementation. So I think if you're thinking on those lines, I think fantastic, great. I
Yeah, yeah.
think and that really answers my questions.
Yep. Thanks. So there is a question in chat. Where is it? How effective is parsing of PDF and decoding and relevant messages for ERP Next in Donna? It's pretty good. I use the default Codex PDF parsing. There is no specialized model, but you can combine it with digital manual parse. PyMu PDF is the Python library, and then you can increase its accuracy in that way. Because the PDFs that are processed are mostly digital PDFs. They are not scanned documents. Scanned documents have their own different problems, right? Digital, pretty high accuracy because it can parse it even by looking at the PDF ka inside um, the actual data. Yeah, not just OCR. So there are two ways, right? The PDF can directly be opened for its text, and the second is taking images and then doing an OCR on top of it. But yeah, models are good at it. Is there any community where the sort of communication happens and we can be part of it? Not yet. I think generic AI communities will be there, not specific to Frappe plus agentic AI. So Ayushman says, how much tokens does Donna utilize? It's pretty less because this all email processing, everything is not high volume. I use the same subscription for writing code. Donna uses the same subscription for answering questions and doing things. And I have never exhausted Codex yet, the base plus plan. So that is why I said that their optimization of token, their limits are much more better than the Claude Ka Plus plan. So Gopi says, after this session, what's the best way to reach out to you? How can I ping you if you have any questions? Email is good. Second is Telegram at Build with Hussain. Uh, I might be late to reply, but yeah, I will reply. Ayushman says, how much token? Ayushman can confirm to that. How much token does Donna? That is answered for setting up your Donna. Is there a resources you went through? So what I did was I just copied getting started page ka documentation, gave it to Claude Code, gave the provisioned VM's IP address and credentials to Claude. Then it did the entire thing step by step. It asked me to create the Telegram bot. So there is a nice wizard that you can follow to set it up. It's not, it's very straightforward. The setup is straightforward, as I mentioned, right? The only piece is how are you teaching her? That is the piece that you need to be aware of. Maybe I'll do some live stream on it, but yeah. Mithilesh says how to connect GrabTile to Git repo and run it. I think you have to sign up on GrabTile and then they will have a GitHub integration, connect GitHub or something. I have not done it. I have done for CodeRabbit, and this is how it was. You just sign up on their platform and then connect your open sources. I think free. Private repositories, I think they have some limits. Do, 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 do. So Naveen says, can you add a separate Donna session recording for cohort one as if possible? Yeah, in that cohort, in the first cohort, we set up Donna from scratch by provisioning a VM and everything. We can share that recording. I'll ask Shivam to send it across to you. The recording, day four of cohort one. Gopi says, have you ever thought about it? We relying on LLMs from third-party providers, but what if significantly increase their pricing in the future? Also, how do we handle concerns about sharing private or sensitive data? How do you ensure security and data privacy? Open source is the answer. I think open source LLMs are getting good. And running your own LLMs will become easier and easier. And in one of the last cohorts, we had CanIRun.ai. CanIRun.ai is something where you can run your own LLMs locally. NVIDIA is also going this route where they are building chips that can run billion parameter models locally on your computer, right? Apple has done this. Apple has some foundation models directly running on iPhones and Macs, right? I think this plus the open source is the answer to the monopoly that Anthropic and OpenAI are building. So I'm excited to see how this plays out because open source models are becoming better and better. And this scanner run can tell you if you can run any model locally and try it out. Nitesh says, since there is nothing, I just created this WhatsApp group. Awesome. Thanks. I will also join in. Copy this link for now. Bookmark. Yeah. Ayushman says also you said you prefer Hermes to OpenClaw now. Is there a specific reason? The reason is Twitter for now. The reviews I got, the because OpenClaw has a lot of security vulnerabilities and more people are switching to Hermes. And they are also shipping fast because the person who built OpenClaw joined OpenAI and that whole saga. Apple has unified memory, which helps a lot in, yeah. Gamma is good, A2B needs GPU though. Okay. Llama is good. There is Ollama, which helps you run local models. DeepSeek was in news for quite some time, but it requires a lot of RAM. Mhm. Coder, etc. you can run. It takes 1.3 gigabit. The context is only 32K, by the way, which is very less. So for smaller tasks and whatnot, scripts, you can easily use this. But you won't get the output of Opus or Sonnet. But yeah, hopefully, because the whole AI verse is changing so fast, this cohort 6 months later might not be the same. Even 3 months, I'm not sure these days. Every 2 weeks, they are doing something. But yeah, I think the core concept should be same. So keep playing around. Maybe also keep yourself up to date with some current affairs. No need to have FOMO, but some of it, what is happening, at least in the Frappeverse, what are they pushing? Outside the Frappeverse, what are this capabilities of these models? How can we save tokens? What are this? Because people are finding out ways to save more and more tokens. So that is one tooling innovation that is going on. How so you know which model is good in coding and which is not? You will just know when you start building with it. It will hallucinate, make so many mistakes, introduce obvious bugs. Only way to know is just by trying. The other ways you can trust those trust me bro benchmarks that okay 87% on this bench, 89% on coding bench and whatnot. Whatever stats they publish, right? That is one way to judge. The other is you try it out yourselves, which is much better. And if you ever want to try out different models, I would suggest Open Router. So whenever I want to explore some novel use case where I'm not sure which model will be good, I start here. So they have like 400 plus models in a single API key. You can buy $10, $20 credit and then try it out, right? And it will tell you what people are using. For example, Gemini 3.0 weekly trend, right? Explore models. And if you want, for example, someone mentioned which model is good at images, right? Nano Banana 2 Lite, which model is good at video, Alibaba something something, speech, right? So you can do categories and whatnot. Programming, which models are good at programming? Sonnet 5, see how many tokens have been used with them. The ranking, right? For finance use cases, this is number 13. So you might want to get a better agent if you're building for finance, for marketing, for legal things, right? So this is a good place to compare and browse models, right? And even access them. So it gives you a unified API for some margin on top. So whenever experimenting, I use this. I have some tokens. I have some credits. How much I have? $50. So I had $50 of credits, but now I have 45.3. So High 3 is a new model recently deployed and is competing with GPT and Claude as per benchmark. Yeah, yeah. So I am very hopeful on open source models. and local models as well. So as they figure out how to optimize the RAM, memory, and disk usage, we'll be able to run more and more capable models locally. And then people will also start setting up their own servers and GPUs and whatnot. So this will become the self-hosting of LLMs. Right now it's tough, but more and more, I think enterprises will start to do it as they see the benefits of it and whatnot. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. Awesome. Thanks everyone for joining in, for sharing your experiences. Um, and I hope it was useful and it provided the value for which you paid for. Uh, I would want it to be more than what you paid for, at least 5x of the value, because that is what my target is always. At least you should get 5x of the value of whatever you paid. But yeah, certificate I will have to design today or tomorrow, and I'll share it this week. Don't worry. I'm a bit caught up, but I'll share. So documentation I will have to generate as I mentioned. So expect it by next week or something before Frappeverse. I won't overpromise. Awesome. Ayushman Kapoor says, which Twitter pages would you suggest to also get more updates on tools like this? Follow Anthropic, Claude Code, Claude Devs, follow Andrej Karpathy, follow this guy who built OpenClaw, I forget his name, Peter something. So all of this. Follow Matt Pocock, who built their skills, right? Theo's videos are also good. But yeah, then you follow the suggestions. So if you follow this 4 or 5 people, Twitter will start suggesting the right people to you. Awesome. Okay. So Gopi, I'm taking this as a testimonial. But by the way, I forgot. Just do leave a review for this cohort, and I will share the link if you want to. But just go to your batch, and you will have a feedback section. Just leave ratings and review. Just take 2-3 minutes now if you have, because then I will also move on to something else. You will also might want to move on to something else and do more development. I'll share the link in the chat. Just leave out a review. Mm, yeah, it helps a lot to. Also, there is a bug in BWH school login. We'll try. It's a vanilla LMS, so it's might be a product bug. Looking forward to more such sessions. Yes, me too. So yeah, take 2 minutes, leave a review. We'll have the recordings for today as well, and I will also ask Shivam to send the recording of the last cohorts last day, or even the full cohort. Awesome. Thanks. Bye bye, everyone. Don't forget to rate and leave a review. And also share your certificates once they are there on LinkedIn and whatever platform you use. Bye bye. Thank you for joining in. Bye bye. Have a nice day. And build some kick ass stuff. Bye bye. Thank you. Awesome.